Vibes! Welcome back to another episode of the Hoop Genius podcast presented by NBA 2K23. Hit the link in the bio to get your copy. BJ and I are back with another one. Today, BJ, we spoke about Draymond earlier in the week, but his punishment has been handed out to him today.
It's punishment now?
It's punishment.
The higher authority?
He has been disciplined by the Golden State Warriors. You know, we saw the Boston Celtics. They disciplined Ime Udoka for a whole season for having an affair. Draymond Green has been suspended 0 days. He's paid a fine and will return to team activities on Thursday. He's expected to be in the starting lineup for opening night of the NBA season, which has prompted a response from Bobby Portis, or Bobby Portis, as you may say.
Yes.
And he said, it's cool when they do it. It's a problem when I do it. Which, BJ, you don't use TikTok. It's like a trending sound on TikTok.
Oh.
But obviously, Bobby responding to himself being suspended for something way less worse than what Draymond did. What do you make of this and how the Warriors have handled it?
You know, Mo, in many regards, we're in uncharted territory. And this, I feel, is open for fair criticism. And the reason I say this is because no one condones that type of behavior. No one. And that's unacceptable. I don't care what happened, why, it's unacceptable. Now, the Warriors, and I will give them this, I think they understand this, and they've been on message this entire time with their organization, their head coach, their executive, and their leadership with their players, including now Jordan Poole. I think this has been a very unified decision. It's not just the organization and everyone else. I think they've taken the input of everyone, including the players.
Well, the reports came out that Jordan and Draymond still have not spoken.
I don't know if they haven't, but when I say the players, I'm going to assume in looking at all of this, that Jordan Poole and the organization, Steph Curry and the organization, they've all had, whether it's been a collective conversation or one-off conversations. However, I feel like they've all been in a room and there's been a line of communication. Now, whether Jordan Poole and Draymond Green has talked, hey, that's another discussion, right? You need time here. Maybe they have, maybe they haven't. However, the organization, including Jordan Poole in these conversations, I feel that they've all had conversations on what they felt is necessary in order for them to do one thing. It's one thing they're unified in saying, whether we agree with whatever the punishment may be, is that how can they best move forward under these very difficult circumstances? I can't recall anything more difficult since Steve Kerr and these guys have been there. Yeah. I can't. Well, and I think this is, and I think they understand it. But if it's one thing they are trying to do, because I think they really feel internally that they have a better chance to win the championship this year than even last year.
Oh, 100%. 100%, because they got a healthy season of play, healthy Wiseman. But, you know, we spoke about Steph Curry's leadership on the episode where we really dived into this issue. Go and check that one out if you haven't already. But Steph Curry has been the man behind the scenes trying to bring Jordan and Draymond together. But Steve Kerr said that, can you guess which player Steve Kerr described as the morale compass of our team?
Well, you know, and knowing Steve, you know,
and it's a surprising player.
Anybody. Well, I don't think it's surprising. He is very fond of Kevon Looney. And if I had to say, he's very fond of Kevon Looney, because when you look at Kevon Looney, you know, he's an acquired taste as a player. You know, he's not like, you know, you're looking at James Wiseman, you're going, that guy's way more talented. Or you're looking at players, but he always comes back to Kevon Looney. And as I began to watch Kevon Looney more and more and more, I began to have an appreciation for him, because he doesn't do anything that jumps out at you immediately, but he's slow and he's steady. So Kevon Looney, to me, has probably, because he was a guy on the bench. He was a guy that wasn't playing, but he's always been like a trusted guy that Steve Kerr has had. Steve Kerr likes him, you know, and I said he'll ride with him forever. Has a soft spot. Steve Kerr probably has a soft spot for him because in knowing, I mean, like I'm old enough to know this. Steve Kerr bounced around a little bit before he found a place. And Kevon Looney, in some ways, kind of mirrors Steve Kerr's career in a little bit. Well, so I would say Kevon Looney is probably the guy.
I mean, Kevon was drafted by the Warriors way back in 2015, but he is only 26. I was surprised when I found out how young he is. Speaking of young players on the Warriors, James Wiseman had himself a night in preseason, 18 points, 7 minutes, 18 points and 7 rebounds in 18 minutes, 6 of 8 from the field. Patrick Beverley started a podcast. He started a podcast alongside some guy, just how JJ Redick has a podcast next to some guy. And the guy on, forgive me for the ignorance, but the guy on Patrick Beverley's podcast said to him, do you feel like you're part of the new media? The new media, of course, being the phrase that Draymond Green loves to describe himself with. And Patrick Beverley rather hilariously replied, I don't know. I'm not out here punching people. So that's enough of the Warriors, I think, for one day. We had
Mo, can I just want to say something? I want to say something here. And I don't want this to get lost in all of this. And look, this is a huge story, what happened out there in Golden State. And listen, I don't know how it's going to, end. But I want to say something here because the very next day or the very next time, very closely to the event that happened there in practice, which has been well documented, this kid, Jordan Poole, came out quietly and had a 25 piece. Now, and I want to highlight this just for a minute, just for 1 minute, and then we can move on. That is a very difficult thing to do under the circumstances of everything that has happened. And then this young man comes out in the very next game and has 25 points and really played well. I watched the game. Now, that lets me know that there's a level of mental toughness there, because I don't know how many young people can actually go through that for the world to see and then come back and play the game with that level of toughness, but more importantly, perform at that level. And I just want to make sure that Jordan Poole and what he's done and his professionalism doesn't get lost in all of this, because that young man there showed me something. That wasn't an easy thing to Mo. That wasn't an easy thing to do, because I mean he was hit. We saw the tape.
He got spun. That's how we would say over here.
We saw the tape. For him to be able to come back and perform like that, he showed me something. And I just want to make sure, because Mo, I'm like I told you, when this happened, you don't want to see that happen to anyone. But I just want to make sure we highlight that.
Well, it is surprising to me that Draymond didn't get suspended even for a game, because now it sets the precedent. Okay, if you're in the Warriors organization and you punch someone in the face, you won't even get suspended. So what's stopping everyone from just punching everyone and paying the fine? What's stopping Jordan Poole coming to practice and just punching Draymond in the face himself? What's stopping anyone who joins the Warriors going up to anyone in practice and smacking him in the face? This is a dangerous precedent set by not even having a 1-game suspension. You get more. You get more of a suspension for accumulating technical fouls.
Well, Mo, I think let's you and I take a 30-second deep dive, and I'm going to bring something up that I don't know if you're going to hear it anywhere else, but I want to bring something up and allow our audience and our listeners to really look at this. And I'm just going to take you behind the curtain. The Warriors have a scenario that's very unique to them on opening day. They're going to receive their rings the first game of the season. And Mo, there's a big decision to be made here. And here's the decision. The commissioner is going to be there. Their entire fan base is going to be there. All of those players, regardless of what happened in practice, those players who contributed to that championship ought to be there. Some of them are on different teams. But for the ones who are there, Mo, that's a concern first. Second, if Draymond is not there, you and I, who are in the media, we have to ask the question. which could possibly and will and would have for sure overshadowed the ring ceremony. Let's call it like it is. We can sit here and say, oh, we're setting precedent. You're darn if you do, you're darn if you don't.
I don't think so.
Oh, again, this is just one person's opinion.
Because what's stopping them from him getting the ring and then going back to the locker room?
I'm just saying what I feel that this organization had to consider when making their decision. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not here to judge anything, because when you are in this position, there is no right or wrong, because these are difficult decisions. This isn't like somebody just said, this is what we're going to do, and this is it, and this is the right thing. No, we can debate this. We can debate this mode for hours on end and and both sides can be right. However, I think when they were making their final decision, they took that into consideration, and they came to the conclusion that they don't want this to overshadow, their rings. And how quickly can they put this behind them? Because it's only one way out of this, Mo. It's only one way out of it, regardless of what. There you go.
Hashtag winning. Well, I mean, they could have also said to Jordan Poole, look, we're not going to suspend him, but we're going to give you the max extension that you want. Happy?
How do you know they haven't said that? How do you know they haven't said that?
Well, we're about to find out, because there is less than 5 days. He might even sign it before this podcast comes out. There's less than 5 days for all of those players to have their extension signed. One of which, Grant Williams, who played against the Warriors in the finals. The reports are saying the Boston Celtics aren't going to offer him an extension, and instead he'll hit the free agency market, which is a big surprise to me, considering how old Al Horford is. He's supposed to be the natural successor. He's become a very reliable three-point shooter, as the Milwaukee fans know, after he went lights out against them in the playoffs. He's become a very good defender. He held his own against some of the
They drafted him, right? They drafted him
as well.
Oh, so, well, that's smart. That's smart.
So he'll be a restricted free agent or an unrestricted free agent now?
They can match.
There we go. There we go. So he's looking for reportedly 60 million. We're going to see if anyone in the NBA gives him 60 million. But
if they do give him 60 million, the Celtics can still match.
There we go. But there was some sadder news yesterday. There were some injuries. One of your Detroit Pistons, Marvin Bagley, picked up a little injury, but thankfully the reports come back. It's not a serious one. But remember when I said that the Hornets would be the best team for Victor Wembanyama on yesterday's show?
Why don't you remind us, Mo, and replay that? Replay the soundbite, because I can't recall it. But remind us, Mo.
So the listeners, you guys can go and check it out. And then I saw a tweet on Twitter just after we finished the podcast, and they said, watch what the Charlotte Hornets will do. They will have LaMelo Ball pick up a little injury and then long that out and lose as many games possible. And last night, LaMelo unfortunately injured his ankle. Now he's out 1 for 2 weeks. You might see a few complications that leave him out 3 to 4 weeks. And you might see it flare up again 6 to 8 weeks. You never know how these things can go. But we might just see a prophecy unfolding right here on a podcast. But although everyone thinks
and who said it? Did I say it?
Yours truly. You said you want to see him in Toronto. Toronto, we're going to be in the playoffs. But anyway, BJ, I thought the season's almost here. I thought let's have some fun today. We're going to play a little game.
Oh, great.
I have been sent a list of 10 of the craziest facts about the NBA. And these are so mind-bogglingly random. I thought, who better to test out on these than the most knowledgeable basketball savant that I know? So I'm gonna hit you with some facts. And
who else is coming on? We got a guest coming on?
No. It's Mr. One and only Mr. BJ Armstrong.
Okay. Oh, okay. All
so
right.
I want you to complete some of these sentences. I'm going to tell you the question and you just tell me. So, number one, this player played against John Havlicek, who was born in 1940, and Kobe Bryant, who was born in 1978, during the span of his career. So towards the start, he played against John Havlicek, and towards the end, he even played against Kobe. That's how long he was in the league. Can you think of which player that might be?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is a tough one. Play along at home and let us know if you get the answers before we do.
So he played against John Havlicek.
Yep.
And he played
against Kobe. For reference, John Havlicek
90...
retired in 78.
Yeah.
So then Kobe got drafted in the year 1996.
1996.
So he played between 78 and 96.
I don't know, Robert Parrish.
Correct.
Is that right?
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
That was a good guess.
That was a good one.
That was a good one
because Robert Parrish was drafted in 76 and finished playing in 97. That was great. That's a great start, BJ. I didn't expect you to get that.
Oh, wow.
Number two. Michael Jordan had his jersey retired by Emsley A. Laney High School, UNC, the Chicago Bulls, and which other team?
The Miami Heat.
That's easy. That was an easy one. The Sheboygan, Wisconsin. Is that a place? I don't know how to pronounce it. Forgive me if I've...
Yes.
The population is roughly 49,000 people, but apparently they once had a team. Do you know the name of that team?
The Milwaukee Bucks.
No. The team no longer exists.
Oh.
On August the 3rd, 1949, it became Wisconsin's first NBA city. As
I have no idea.
They were known as the Redskins, which I believe is now an offensive term. So please forgive us for anyone listening who was offended.
Yes,
but I'm glad they didn't keep that.
There's a reason. It's a reason I don't know that. It's a reason.
I'm glad. I don't know why it's on this list. It's irresponsible list. Number 4. Who is the single game assist leader? And do you know how many assists they've got?
I know Scott Skiles had like 30 or something.
Correct. Very good.
How many? Yeah.
Yeah,
how
30.
Many did he have?
Exactly.
That was a total guess.
Okay.
That was a total guess.
Number 5.
I don't know why I remember that.
Who holds the Chicago Bulls franchise record for most points scored in a half?
Wow. I'll say Jordan, but I it's probably not him.
So the list said that it was not Michael Jordan. It didn't actually tell me who it was. So I had to do a little bit of research. And Jimmy Butler broke Michael Jordan's record by scoring 40 points in the second half of a 115-113 victory over the Toronto Raptors back in 2016. So Jimmy Butler, it feels, how long ago does it feel like Jimmy Butler was on the Chicago Bulls? It feels like
about 7 years.
It feels like a lifetime though. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know if it's just me. How many times was Dijon?
Is this another question? Is this another
number
question?
6. Number 6.
Okay.
How many times was Dijon Blair drafted by the San Antonio Spurs organization?
I'm going to say 3 times.
He was drafted twice. And I don't really know how this happens. Do you have any insight?
I do not. I just know the kid didn't have any ACLs.
What? No ACLs in his knees whatsoever?
Yeah. Yes.
That's an even crazier fact. That's what they should have put on this list instead. Number 7. Oh no. My list has just crashed. My laptop keeps crashing today. It's awful. Here we are. Number 7. Another one that I think you might get. This is too easy. This is too easy. So I'm going to have to try and reword it and make it a little bit more difficult.
Oh, wow.
In the 1962 season, Wilt Chamberlain averaged how many minutes per game?
Like 48.7.
Yeah.
How many do you average?
48.52 minutes per game, which is more considering there's 48 minutes in an NBA game.
He played every minute of every game plus the overtime for an entire season. I don't want to hear anything about load management. I know it's possible.
And not only is that possible, he holds the top 7 records in terms of minutes played in a season, and nobody else has ever averaged for more than 46 minutes in a season. So shout out to Wilt Chamberlain.
Yeah, okay. It's more than a shout out.
Yeah, I don't know how you do that. I mean,
and you look at the equipment, the floors.
Here's
travel.
what I look at, because BJ, you know I'm an expert in sneakers. You know that's my bag, sneakers. I seen the shoes that he used to play in.
Yeah, there's Converse Cons.
I wouldn't wear them to go and get my shopping from the back of the car to bring it in the house.
And they're horrible. He said he was like 7'2".
Exactly. In the shorts.
Well, here's something. Here's something you would appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
Allegedly during this time, and I'm saying this respectfully, allegedly in his book, in his memoir, he claimed that he was with over 20,000 women during his time. Mm-hmm. So not only were the shoes, the lack of sleep. I mean,
he's putting up numbers on and off the court.
Mo, you're the stat guy. Let me just do the stats. You know what I mean? I mean, Mo, allegedly, that's just all this. I'm just reporting the news here, ladies and gentlemen.
Well,
so
I heard allegedly that he actually had a specially made bus to travel separately from the team between cities, which is where he could have racked up some numbers. So I'm sure BJ can't tell us the secrets, but I've heard a thing or two. But I thought my numbers were impressive, but Wilt Chamberlain blows them out of the water. Wilt the Stilt, I believe, was his nickname. Wilt the Stilt. Number 8 on this list, though, moving swiftly along. Number 8 on this list. Which player made it to at least the second round every single year of their career?
Bill Russell.
No.
John Havlicek.
I'm sure there's more than one, but it wasn't a player from that old Celtics team, because that's a cheat code. This is in the modern NBA. So let's see from the
modern.
Okay. Yeah. Because back then there's like 10 teams, like second rounds just there.
Yeah. Okay. So he's made it to the second round
every single season
that he played in the NBA.
If you want me to give you the dates in which he was drafted and he retired, would that help you? He played between 1992.
Tim Duncan.
No.
1992.
92 until 2008.
That's Shaq?
No. Do you want me to give you the names of his teams?
Sure.
He was drafted by the Rockets.
Robert Horry?
That's correct. Robert Horry, 7 championship rings. Played for the Rockets until 96.
I didn't think he made it to the second round when he was in Phoenix.
But maybe Phoenix Suns, he was only there for one season. 96 to 97, Phoenix Suns. Where did they finish? They finished 4th in the Pacific Division that season. And then how far did they get in the playoffs? They got to, let me have a look. Is my list inaccurate? Is my list inaccurate? Oh, they did lose in the first round. BJ Armstrong has defeated the list. Oh, wow. People have read it. You have let me down.
Hey. Woo!
Let me double check this.
Hey. You double check that, because Mo, in order to beat the man, you must be the man.
Yeah, they lost 3 games to 2 against the Supersonics.
In order to beat the man, you must be the man.
Wow.
And Mo, right now, with that answer,
the list has been defeated.
I am the man right now.
You're the man, but number 9's a little bit trickier.
Okay, go ahead.
Which NBA player, this is insane. I can't believe that this is true. I'm going to have to research it afterwards.
Okay.
Which NBA player has his organs on the opposite side of his body compared to other humans?
I don't know. Sean Elliott. I have no idea.
I have to Google this. Yeah. Randy Foye. Randy Foye was born with a condition called situs inversus that caused him to be born with his organs reversed, meaning his heart is on his right side and his liver is on the left.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Crazy. That is absolutely wild. And he had a full NBA career with no complications for his entire career.
Randy Ford. I think he went to Connecticut. I think he went to UConn. I know he played at the University. I think not the University of Minnesota. He played for the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. He played for the Nuggets as well. He went to Villanova. He was the 7th overall pick in the 2006 draft. Played for the Timberwolves, Wizards, Clippers, Jazz, Nuggets, Thunder, and the Nets. And when he was on the Timberwolves, he made the all-rookie first team as well.
Shout out to Randy Foy. Shout out.
Yeah,
that's wow.
That's
I had no idea.
Outrageously insane. Like, yeah.
Wow. I've never heard of that before.
Apparently, the actress Kathleen O'Hara also has the same condition. Not that I know who she is, but interesting. And number 10. Oh, this one's not even a question. This is an awful one. This one, I'm just going to tell you the fact because it is quite mind-boggling. And I feel like I should give a shout out to our good friend Jack, because number 10 is not even a question. It says the Seattle Supersonics have won a playoff series more recently than the Sacramento Kings. The Sonics have been defunct for over a dozen years. That's a pretty crazy fact. On the Sacramento.
Yeah, so what's the question? So what's the? No,
it wasn't even phrased as a question. I was like, what can I ask about this?
Oh yeah. Well, what can you say?
Yeah,
but that was fun.
That was fun, a nice little exercise. I thought let's have a little bit of fun before we get serious with the season beginning. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, that was fun.
Okay, I've got one that's come up in the comments, so I don't know how true this is. Which city has the most number 1 picks born there? The number 1 NBA draft picks.
I'm just going to say.
This will shock you. If you get this, I will end the episode and be astounded.
It has the most number 1 picks.
The most number 1 NBA overall draft picks were born in this city.
Philadelphia.
It's going to shock you. The answer is Melbourne, Australia. Melbourne, Australia has 3 overall draft picks. Kyrie Irving, Ben Simmons, and Andrew Bogut.
Oh, you can't cut. Flag on the play. I'm throwing a flag. I'm throwing a flag.
Why?
Penalty. Hey, Mo.
Why?
Mo.
Why?
It's a penalty. There's a flag on the play.
Why?
Like, because Kyrie Irving
was born in Melbourne, Australia.
All right.
It's not where he grew up, it's where he was born. So check this. Melbourne has 3. In the modern NBA, Chicago and Toronto are second with 2 each. And if we include the ABA, Chicago has 4. And surprisingly, New York and LA aren't on the list, which is a big shock to me. That's kind of wild.
Chicago has, who are they? Are they Derrick Rose? And who else?
Anthony Davis.
Right.
Yeah. These are some crazy facts. If you guys have any more crazy facts, jump in a Discord server and let us know some of yours and we can quiz BJ or BJ can quiz me. Here's another one. Which player played against Rick Mahorn and Kobe White in his career? Rick Mahorn, obviously a friend of yours. Kobe White, a recent draft pick just a couple years ago from the Chicago Bulls.
Big Rick just called me last weekend and asked why can't he be a guest on our show? I'm not kidding.
100%. But just let me know before so I can put in a censor button for all the swear words that might come up in the course of the show. Because we know this is a family-friendly show. Tell Rick once I get the censor button, he can come on anytime he likes.
Okay. All right. Okay, that's fair. That is fair.
You got to get a sponsorship.
It will be a lot of fun. Yeah.
By the way, if
Rick
you guys
Mahorn
listen,
and who?
And Kobe White. Current reserve point guard for the Chicago Bulls.
Dirk Nowitzki.
No, not quite.
Who is it?
Vince Carter.
That's a good
Vince
one.
Carter, legendary career. Legendary. If you guys don't know who Rick Mahorn is, by the way, just search him on YouTube before you listen to his episode with us. Because when we went on radio, we went on Sirius XM radio in America with Rick Mahorn on his show, right? And I was trying to explain to someone who Rick Mahorn was. And I was like, let's watch his highlights on YouTube. So I typed his name into YouTube, and guess what, BJ?
It's just going to be fights.
There's one highlight reel and 45 fight videos. So we should have got him on to talk about Draymond, to be honest. But we're gonna get Rick Mahorn on. BJ, that was a fun episode. I really enjoyed doing that. If you guys enjoyed it, let us know on social media. We'll be back with more. Tomorrow morning, we'll have another episode fresh for you guys. Don't even worry about that. The season's around the corner. Make sure you guys get some rest this weekend. We'll have another episode before then. BJ, well done. You got most of those right. Let me count out. You got a 7 out of 10, I think.
Oh,
pretty well.
70% from 3. I'll take it.
Hey, man. Hey, I'll take that any day of the week. I'll take that any day of the week. But anyway, appreciate you guys listening. If you enjoyed that, make sure you subscribe, leave a review, leave a rating. Share it with your friends. We're trying to grow this podcast this season. So if you have any friends that like basketball and like the NBA, please do share the show with them. It means the world to us, helps us continue what we're doing. And most importantly, above all of that, you know the vibes, get buckets.